UFC Fight Night Kape versus Almabayev is here, and it's a lackluster card. I'm gonna be completely honest. A lot of fights fizzled out. Thankfully, one was a WMMA fight. Unfortunately, we're gonna be losing one of the bathroom breaks, but hopefully they make up for it with commercials. On to the picks and predictions for this one. Starting off the card, we have Charles Johnson set to face off against Ramazan Temirov. Now, the odds are close between these fighters, near even. Charles Johnson is a favorite, just by a little bit. I disagree with it. I think he's a much better fighter, much more proven at the UFC level than Ramazan Temirov. Temirov is a can crusher. Yes, he finished CJ Vergara, made CJ Vergara look really bad in that debut, but he didn't look too great either. He was just swinging overhands. He clipped CJ. When CJ gets hurt, he doesn't really know what to do. He tries to run. Temirov showed really good killer instincts in finishing him off, but he didn't really show that much defensively. Even if he hurts Charles Johnson, who has a chin on him, when he's going in for the kills, Charles Johnson can clip him. He put a guy like Joshua Van out who has a really good chin himself, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to put out a guy like Temirov. Placing a bet on Charles Johnson, I think the bookmakers have got this one wrong. Next up, we're going to the bathroom break. The Andrea Lee versus JJ Aldrich fight. Now, hands up if anybody's looking forward to this fight. Exactly. I do think JJ Aldrich is going to win. Andrea Lee, she's on a really, really big losing streak. I have no idea how she's still in the UFC. But she's durable. I don't see JJ Aldrich getting a finish here. I think she wins by decision. It's one of my confident plays, but it's not worth anything. So don't bet it. Moving on to the next one. We got Lucas Almeida versus the dog, Danny Silva. Danny Silva's a favorite. He's a favorite for a reason. I could see him getting the dub on this one, but again, the odds are not that great on him. Moving on to the next one. Ricardo Ramos set to face off against Chepe Mariscal. Chepe Mariscal has looked absolutely insane at the UFC level in every single one of these fights. He has won in the UFC. I believe he lost against Morgan Charrier, but in all of his other fights, looked like an animal. I see him putting in work against Ricardo Ramos. No bet on this one individually, but stick around. I got something for Chepe Mariscal in this fight card. Next up, we're moving on to the heavyweight division. Austen Lane set to face off against Mario Pinto. And I can see Pinto keeping his undefeated record intact. Austen Lane is a guy they kind of lay up for heavyweights to kind of get them going in the UFC, and that's exactly what I see happening here. Mario Pinto, all fights, all finishes, should be able to finish a guy like Austen Lane because he doesn't really have that much power to put you out. He's going to try to wrestle you. So it's not worth betting. If Pinto doesn't have that great of takedown defense, didn't really do too much research on it. If he can't stop takedowns and he gets controlled, Austen Lane can get a sneaky dub, but I do see Mario Pinto putting Austen Lane out cold. Moving on to the welterweights, where we have Danny Barlow set to face off against Sam Patterson. Now, I see this fight being one-way traffic to the winner. It's either Danny Barlow lands one of those left hands on Sam Patterson's chin, because Sam Patterson is not that great in the stand-up, so he might get clipped and put out, or Sam Patterson gets the takedown and absolutely dominates Danny Barlow on the ground, even managing to sink in a submission. The fight stays standing in my opinion. I mean, I haven't really seen Danny Barlow grapple that much at the UFC level, managing to stuff takedowns, but Sam Patterson getting clipped by a guy like Yanal Ashmos, I can see the same thing happening with Danny Barlow. Danny Barlow to put Sam Patterson out cold. Now on to the featherweight division, where we have William Gomis set to face off against Hyder Amil. Now, I'm placing a bet on this one for William Gomis to land more significant strikes. I do see him winning this one as well. The thing about him, he may not pack a lot of power in those punches, but he's very elusive and he can pick you apart in the striking. I see him frustrating Hyder Amil. The only path to victory for Hyder is to land that clean knockout shot, because he's not going to dominate a guy like Gomis over 3 rounds. Pinto couldn't do it, so I really don't think Hyder is going to be able to do it. I think Hyder gets handed his very first loss in this one. On to the featherweight division, where we have Nasrat Haqparast set to face off against Estaban Ribovics. I'm placing a bet on Estaban Ribovics to win by either KO or sub, meaning inside the distance. He's a really talented finisher. I mean, he didn't finish one of his fights. It was the Kirk guy, the jiu-jitsu guy. But he's looked really good in all of his fights. Even if he's taken down, he has these really interesting Kimura sweeps that he does to get back onto his feet or even reverse the position and be on top. And I can see that giving Nasrat Haqparast a lot of trouble. So he has a chance even if it goes to the ground, and I think he is the better striker. It showed in his fight against Daniel Zellhuber, so I do see Estaban Ribovics winning. The only fear is Nasrat's durability, managing to prevent Estaban Ribovics from getting the win by finish. But I don't see him being able to stop Estaban from doing what he does to get the win. On to the co-main event of the... And if this is a co-main event, that means the fight card sucks. Cody Brundage set to face off against Julian Marquez. There's value on the dog here. I'm putting money on Cody Brundage to get the win. Cody Brundage coming off a loss against Bo Nickel, which is not that bad if you look at it. Yes, he lost by submission, but he showed really good defense on the ground leading up to it. Before that, he was coming off wins, looking kind of decent. Julian Marquez, ever since getting put out by Gregory Rodriguez, hasn't looked good, especially with the level of opponents that he's faced. Marc-Andre Barrios, not the greatest opponent. He got put out in that fight. Zachary Reese may not be the greatest opponent, put out cold in that one. I see Cody Brundage managing to get the finish here. Putting a bet on Cody Brundage to get the job done. On to the main event of the evening. We have Manel Kape set to face off against Almabayev. Manel Kape is one of the best in the division. So is Almabayev. Is it a main event? I don't really think so. But let's break it down. Manel Kape, really talented striker. He looks decent in the grappling. He's able to stuff takedowns, but against Marquez, it was very obvious that Marquez would be going for takedowns, and he showed no ability to really stuff takedowns in that fight. His game plan is going to be very similar to Marquez, so if he's not aware of that just shows low fight IQ on Kape's part. I do see Kape getting the victory. On to the ladder challenge. It's back, baby. Week number 1, where we try to turn $10 into 10,000 in 10 sample steps. I got 2 fighters on the slate. The odds are not really there if you bet on them individually, but if you put them together in a parlay, you can turn $10 into 18. First fighter is going to be Chepe Mariscal. Like I said, he looks really good in the UFC. He's an absolute dog. It's going to be really hard to finish him, and he's going to be working all night long for the finish. And next up, we actually have the main event, Manel Kape, just to make it a little bit fun to watch the main event. Manel Kape to get the victory, to add to that parlay, turn $10 into 18. And that's all I have for you for this one. Be sure to leave a like, comment, let me know what you think about the video down below, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, support the channel on the Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.